Most people think they're chasing confidence, but what they really want is something deeper: permission to fully be themselves, without apology, without fear, without playing small to make others comfortable. And here's the uncomfortable truth: you're not lacking confidence because you're weak, broken, or not trying hard enough. You are running on an outdated subconscious programming system that you didn't even choose. That programming was written before you were even 11 years old, and it's still being reinforced and enforced because the programming exists until it's upgraded at the subconscious level. I've spent the last 15 years helping close to 10,000 people, from pro athletes to multimillionaires and billionaires even, and everyone in between, dismantle that old programming and finally live with unshakable self-confidence, self-trust, and feeling like they're truly authentic selves. And I can tell you, the patterns are the same no matter how successful you look on the outside. I want you to think back to a moment where you held back, maybe in a meeting, maybe in a conversation with someone you love, and you knew you had more to say, more to give, but something in you just froze. I've sat across from people who run multi-million-dollar companies who still lack the confidence they need to interact with their employees and the people that work for them in the best and most confident ways. I've worked with pro athletes who can perform under stadium lights, but panic at the idea of speaking in front of 10 people at a charity dinner. And then there's the everyday leaders, the parents, the managers, the creatives, who feel like they're wearing an invisible mask every single day. And the weight of keeping it on is exhausting. One client, Sharon, and I use her name because she did a public video testimonial on for my website, is the founder and director of 3 health companies in Chicago. Brilliant, sharp, respected, but she was in a hiring freeze for years. She lacked the confidence to go and hire new people because she'd just been burned by so many people that she hired and took from her, took all her training, and then left. And then now she had that association that she was just going to get abandoned every time and teach everybody things, and then they were just going to leave her. And that wasn't her fault. It was because she'd had those traumatic experiences before, and now her subconscious was associating her right back into those scenarios and creating that fear that was ongoing. But by upgrading her subconscious, she ended that hiring freeze immediately and also ended up having her highest earning month and then quarter of 30 years of business. And that's what reprogramming the subconscious can do for one person. Think of how many it's done for the close to 10,000 people that I've worked with that all have similar results. Then there was an NFL Hall of Famer, Dermontti Dawson, that I worked with. You can also see his review on my website. Very accomplished football player, and then he retired and he goes around the country speaking to NFL players. Very, very accomplished. Yet, he also lacked confidence standing in front of people and even being able to share his true self and his authentic self. And it's very problematic when you have that. But when that outdated subconscious programming is running the show, it's really not possible to tap into the excellent person that you truly are, the accomplished person you truly are, because it's all outdated programming. But when you do upgrade that programming, then immediately you start to step into full confidence in any scenario, and it's unconditional. I also remember working with a young college student in her first year of college, just going to college. And she'd spent her whole life feeling low self-esteem, zero self-love, and zero self-worth. As a young woman, she didn't dress like a young woman. She dressed very frumpily and ambiguously because she didn't have any true identity or feel like her true self because of years of abuse as a young child. And that abuse and the messages that she took in about her own self-worth because of it were completely running the show as a young adult, and would have continued to run the show as she continued on into adulthood. But as we worked together and completed a few sessions, that programming was completely rewritten at the subconscious level, and she stepped into full self-confidence and self-love. And what a great time to do it as you're just starting university, to step into your own self-worth. She started dressing like herself, feeling feminine, feeling confident, making new friends, and feeling like the self that she had never experienced up until then. It's just a beautiful thing. If this is hitting home, hit like so YouTube shows it to more people, and subscribe. And I share more ways to clear what's holding you back. And I'd love you to be part of this conversation with me. If you've ever thought I should be over this by now, I want you to hear me now. You're not behind. You're not lazy. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You've been trying to outthink or outwork programming that runs 95% of your life without you even knowing it. And here's why that matters. Confidence is an output. It's a natural byproduct of the programming you're running internally at the subconscious level. If that programming is fear-based or limited in any way, the not good enoughs, not worthies, not enoughs, I'm a failure, I'm not pretty enough, I'm stupid, then confidence will always feel fragile no matter how much you achieve. And this is why so many smart, capable, successful people still hesitate, still doubt, still hide parts of themselves. It's not a mindset flaw. It's enforcement by that invisible subconscious programming. For the past 15 years, I've worked with people to identify and clear out that outdated programming and replacing it with the truth of who they really are. When that happens, everything changes because that old programming no longer exists and the truth about you is now where you operate from. So you stop asking permission that you never needed, and the changes that you experience, they don't fade. They're long-lasting, they're tangible, you feel it, you notice it in your thoughts, in your feelings, in your actions, in responses, and those changes don't depend on willpower. They stick because the programming has been upgraded, reprogrammed, and optimized. If you're curious about what that could look like for you, then just click the link in the bio or description and you'll see exactly what's possible when you start clearing that old programming. But even if you never click, here's how you can start taking the power back right now. First, notice the moments where you do feel confident. Those are windows into the programming you want to strengthen. Second, write down the unspoken rules you live by that no one actually gave you, and the unspoken ideas and thoughts that come unbidden in your mind. Things like, don't speak unless you're spoken to, or if you fail once, you're done, or I'm just not good enough for this, or other people are better at things than me. And see those thoughts for what they are, outdated programming that's running at the subconscious level. Third, break a small rule today. Wear what you want. Voice the idea. Take the rest you've earned. These moments start to dismantle that old programming. If you found this helpful, like the video and make sure you're subscribed, because the next one you need to watch is where I break down how your subconscious actually works. That's the cool part. Understanding the operating system that runs your life. And even the next step, learning how to communicate with it. To communicate and create a relationship with the most powerful part of who you are. How exciting and powerful is that? It's the foundation for every change that you want to make. And it'll make everything that you've heard today click on a whole new level. You'll see it right here on the screen. Click it and I'll meet you there. And remember, give yourself permission before anyone else does. You'll be amazed at what happens next.